Hi, I'm Mindy Stern.
I'm JD Cargill.
And I'm Michelle Arrego, and this is
Friendsome and Then Some. Hey, we're three real-life best friends who met over 2 decades ago in the local news scene, and we thought, why not start a podcast all about friendship and how incredible it is to be midlife?
And we may have different views and different opinions and different outlooks, but we approach everything with love and respect and humility. And we hope that you listen to us and walk away, drive away, ride away with maybe some life hacks and some inspiration. We're all about friends. Friendsome and then some. We are Flossom AH and Midlife AF. And I'm so midlife, I'm forgetting my words.
We're like, I'm waiting for this one.
And this is Friendsome and Then Some.
Hey, come everybody, welcome.
Right, she forgot. Yay, she didn't forget her. Yay.
There's our cockadoodle-doo that kicks off every show, every week. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to our podcast.
What's the matter with me?
This is my happiest time of the week when I see you guys.
I know. You guys look so good.
I love my Friendsome and Then Some. I literally look forward. I mean, you know, because we've been friends for 25 some years, whatever. And there were a lot of periods of time when we lived our lives and we weren't in connection as regular as we are now. And I will tell you, that was probably for me, one of the sadder parts of life was not being connected with you guys as much as we are now, because I love this. I look forward to this. I'm actually loving that we're doing this because we get to stay connected in such a profound way. And it really means a lot to me.
It really is. It's like appointment. It's appointment dating with your friends.
It is. I mean, hey, I recommend it to all of you. Start a podcast with your best friends. It's a great way to stay close. And truthfully,
share your life.
And then having the history and media that we do, we're also comfortable in this environment and we just love it. And so it's just so nice to be able to do this, encourage our own friendship, and then also maybe be a reminder of people about why friendship is so important, especially when you get older.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm super excited, Michelle, because the guest we have on today,
yeah,
there's another friendship on this planet that probably is one of the most profound relationships a person can have, and that is with their dog.
That's right. Man's best friend and woman's best friend.
So excited.
Me too. I know. Michael, let's just bring him on.
Welcome, Michael Fiala to Friendsome and Then Some. You're on air. Woohoo!
Did you say it right? Fiala?
Fiala, yeah.
Fiala. Nice. Michael Fiala.
Yeah, I'm fialing you.
I'm fialing you.
I'm fialing you. I'm fialing you, and I'm fialing your dog, too, Mr. Michael. We got to talk about this man.
Well, I can't wait because, honestly, I don't know where I stumbled on his story. But when I saw the whole story, it was like a 2-minute maybe feature online somewhere. I was in tears by the end of it. Not even by the end of it, within the first 15 seconds. I was bawling. The sincerity of your voice, the genuine, like, heartfelt soul connection you have with your dog. You can feel it. It's palpable. I think it breaks that, fourth wall they call it. Like, it doesn't matter that we're watching this from our phones. I literally, something about, like you said, his cinematography, it's like you're there.
We have to paint a picture, right? Because
he takes us there.
If you go to Michael's Instagram page, you
the
will
bike dog,
the bike
underscore bike underscore dog, the
at
bike dog,
the underscore bike underscore dog. You and your 150,000 best friends, because he has a very popular site. This dog and Michael travel the world on motorcycle with videos showing everybody some of the most beautiful, truly the most beautiful corners of our country. Right? Is that pretty much it in a nutshell? What inspired this?
Yeah,
how did you get
started?
So what started it was actually, Socks has been like my best friend since I got him, but I actually went on a trip to Southeast Asia, and I was gone for a little while. And when I got back, the greeting that he gave me was just so warm. But I could tell that he didn't think I was coming back. The way that he greeted me was like, "Oh my God, you're back!" And that actually, like, it tugged on my heartstrings. But I felt really bad about it because I felt like I betrayed him. And so I could just kind of rearrange my whole bucket list of what I wanted to do in my life to be the things that I can include Socks and have him be a part of. And so that's really kind of what kicked it off. And then, things just started to snowball. And I just decided, we don't know if we're going to be alive 6 months from now or a year from now. We don't know what's going to happen. So I'm going to make that not just a bucket list, but it's my priority.
Well, we have the video of that on your website, and it is such a heart-wrenching welcome. And I have to say, I feel the same when we traveled for a year. We went around the world, and we had a dog at home, and it was heartbreaking to leave him. And I have a video of when I met my dog. I felt like I'd abandoned my child, but they were so forgiving. They're so forgiving that it just makes you feel even
Worse.
good and bad at the same time. You're like,
they don't hold grudges.
Worthy.
That's well, they do okay, so this is one thing about the three of us where we talk about our wildly different perspectives, but on some cases we have everything in common, and we are all for baby parents.
Yes.
Furry babies.
You've got 3. Mindy's got, you've got 2. I've got 2.
I've got a cat and a dog.
Yeah, cat and a dog. Mindy's got 3 dogs.
I have 3 dogs.
And I've got 2 dogs. And mine are Lucy and Ethel. I just feel like I have to give them a shout out. You're right, because even at this moment, as you're saying that you miss your dog and you come back to this home reunion, I can already feel it just like an hour from now, the little look on their faces. Exactly. They are your friends. This is a podcast about friendship, and there is no more loyal friend than a canine.
No, that's exactly it.
When did you get
Socks right
Socks? Was Socks a puppy when you got him?
Oh, she's there. Oh, come on.
Come here.
What breed is Socks? Oh, she's like a husky.
She wants to hug.
Aw.
Look at her hug.
Face them. Turn and face them.
Hi, Socks.
Did you get Socks when is it a boy or a girl?
He's a boy.
Oh, a boy. When did you get Socks? Was he a puppy? Was he a baby, or did you?
Yeah, so he was actually surprised. He was a surprise, and I got him when he was probably about 4.5 months old.
Oh.
So not totally a baby. He was already about 25 pounds because they just grow super quick.
Yeah.
Big, yeah.
Most of it was in his head, which is still enormous.
So cute.
And you guys, the bucket list? I love that one of the things you said is a bucket list for 2.
Mm-hmm.
And Socks has had, what a blessing to have you as a dog dad. But how did you get him? How did you get him to start getting on the back of the motorcycle? Like, how did it start? Did it start in a car and then went into a motorcycle and then you just kept going further and further? Like, I love to hear how it began, because what it is now maybe is past what your imagination ever could have dreamed for the 2 of you.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre how it evolved. Initially, when I was in college, which is when I got Socks, I had a car and I had a motorcycle, and so I would ride my motorcycle all over the place. But when I would have to go out camping and hiking and everything with him, I would always take my car. And then when we were moving to Hawaii, right after I graduated college, I knew I wouldn't be able to bring my car because I needed to sell it. So I had the money in order to actually travel to Hawaii, settled, everything like that. And so I was like, well, shoot, if I only can bring my motorcycle, I got to figure out a way that we can actually do this where I can go everywhere with him, because I still want to be able to hike with him. I want to go to these beautiful waterfalls and these valleys and to go see the volcano with lava erupting. I want to do all of that with him. And so then it was like, okay, how can we figure this out? And it was really just like a slow process of shaping a behavior. And so initially I would just pick him up and set him on the motorcycle, and I would just have him sit there, and I would brush him and try to get him used to the feeling of being on the bike. And, slowly over time, I started adding in little things. I would turn on the motorcycle so he would feel the rumble of the engine. I would sit on the bike and actually put it in neutral and just kind of walk it so he felt a little bit of the rolling sensation. And lo and behold, after about 3 months, we were really able to put something together where I felt comfortable with the fact that he was safe on the bike and able to hold on to me, and we could actually go for rides in that neighborhood.
So it was training. It was a process to train him.
It took off.
How to do it safely.
And the goggles and the helmet. I just can't. It's just so cute.
It is.
Imagine
it is
your
so
pets.
precious. I mean, you have logged 110,000 miles. Is that what I understand?
Yeah, that's what he's got now. 110,000.
Look at him.
So
that is incredible.
Who is technically driving when we see in these videos? Is it you or is it Socks?
I wish he would drive because I get tired up there.
No kidding.
I got a 70-pound dog hanging on my back.
Yeah.
It gets a little bit tiring.
You know, I'm curious. I think people are interested because we work in this business and this industry of social media. I mean, you've found an audience. Socks has a little blue check mark. He's a public figure now with hundreds of thousands of followers. When does that turn over and go from being like a fun time with your best friend on the road and become like a little business and like becomes like what you do?
Yeah, that's actually an interesting question. I'm still in that transition phase, I would say, because for me, there's a lot of people that are sending me messages daily, and they're like,
oh my gosh,
I'm sure.
Always wanted to do. How can I travel? How can I, what do I got to do to make a living, so that I can spend my life on the road like that? And like the short answer is do anything,
right?
Do anything to make a living so that you can do it.
I see.
And like a lot of times people feel like there's just a quick way, like, oh, if you do this, you'll be able to have the money to go do your adventure. And it's not like right now, the place that I'm sitting in is a skydiving facility because for the next 4 days, I need to work in order to fund another couple weeks of travel.
Are you a skydiving instructor?
Yeah, that's how it started, right? You were.
That's amazing too. Does Socks skydive with you?
He does. Yeah.
Oh, I gotta see this video. I mean, come on.
Definitely got a video of that. Well, I've noticed too, I was looking at some of the comments because it is a laborious act to have to try to comment. And it's good to engage your viewers and your followers. And, I noticed, you engage in the first, 20, 40, and then you got so many. I mean, and it's a full-time job. And you, at one point, you just said, look, I'm just trying to stay present and be in the moment and enjoy the beautiful view. I'm, just maintaining the page. That's a lot of work, maintaining a page like that while you're trying to have this adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so, I mean, Socks and I have been riding on a motorcycle for about 8 years now, but I didn't make an Instagram page until just over 2 years ago. And prior to that, I didn't even have a social media page. I very much like to stay totally disconnected.
Right.
It allows me to, stay present and actually experience all of what's around me, whether it's the national parks or the forest. And there's, the social media thing is a tether, but I really do enjoy being able to share that with people.
Was that the impetus? I was curious. After 6 years, you suddenly decided to jump online. Why?
Well, I mean, it kind of out in Hawaii, not too many people really cared about the motorcycle. Everybody on the island saw it and it was like, oh yeah, that's Socks. He rides on a motorcycle. It wasn't a big deal. You see some bizarre things out. So it wasn't a thing. And it wasn't until I took a trip to the mainland and I was riding around that all of a sudden there was just some really bizarre looks and stuff. And I was like, wow, I didn't realize that this would garner any sort of attention. And when I went back home to Hawaii, that was just a vacation to the mainland. When I went back home to Hawaii, I had a couple of friends that were like, hey, I have a social page for my dog and it has 60,000 followers. And I looked and I was like, but your dog doesn't even ride a motorcycle. So yeah, that's kind of what kicked it into gear.
That's awesome.
And you're actually really, I'm sorry, you're actually really poetic and journalistic too. And what he writes, one thing, you put beautiful quotes. And I want to read
history
one quote
of
because
the parks. Like I love that, learning about volcanic history.
And one of them is just so poignant for right now too. And I feel like your sense of adventure.
Oh, I feel it coming on, Michelle. I feel it coming on. Let's hear it.
Curious for people now because they're finally able to get in touch with themselves. But your sense of adventure obviously has been in you and you've been doing it for a while. So now you're like, oh, now everybody's on my vibe. I've been doing this, all of a sudden a virus has to hit where people are interested in adventure. But this one quote really hit me. And it's, you quoted Linda Thompson. Our uniqueness, our individuality, and our life experience molds us into fascinating beings. I hope we can embrace that. I pray we may all challenge ourselves to delve into the deepest resources of our hearts to cultivate an atmosphere of understanding, acceptance, tolerance, and compassion. And you just put these moments together, and then it's a picture of you riding with your dog. Like, what is the soul connection between you and Socks? Like for someone who, when someone's like, I'm not a dog person or I'm not a cat person, I'm like, bye, boy. Like, how do you not? I don't understand that. So tell me though, like, this is on another level.
Yeah, I mean, I would say just based on, if you're just talking any relationship with a dog, somebody who says they don't like dogs is like, how can you dislike unconditional love? I don't understand. Like this is unconditional.
More telling.
In a living form, and you're just like, I don't like it. That doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, definitely. That's pretty crazy. But
sorry, Michael, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. What was the second part?
Kind of your connection,
your connection with Socks. It's a companionship unlike any other.
Yeah, I think it really just kind of evolved over time. I'm one who had a lot of anxiety being in like very social settings. A lot of big groups of people really doesn't jive well with me. It's hard for me to feel like I can fit in with everybody. The things that I really enjoy are like being off in nature, being in a solitary place and sharing it with my dog. And so the more that I kept doing that and it felt fulfilling for me, the more that I wanted to embrace that as my life rather than just trying to fit into this bubble of like, you got to go hang out with these friends and you got to go to dinner parties and you have to make friends at work. Like, while all of those things are true and it's good to be friendly with everybody, I think it's even more important to embrace who you are. And so being able to like share those things with Socks and just understanding that is where I get the most fulfillment in my life is really what kind of drove our relationship to be as good as it is. Then of course I'm with him all the time. So, it's like a husband and wife who are with each other all the time. They'll finish each other's sentences. And I know there's times Socks wants to cut me off because he wants to finish my sentence.
You describe Socks as your best friend, and I know we all say that about our dogs. I mean, they're like family. But is Socks genuinely your best friend? Like, would you say literally his best friend, your best friend?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of times that there's things you can say to your dog that you can't say to anybody else.
Yeah.
There's moments that you share with your pet that you can't lean on a friend to actually experience, or if you can, feel incredibly blessed that you have that sort of friend in your life. But for me personally, I don't have that sort of friend that I can share all those kind of moments with. I do have a couple of really close friends, but I wouldn't consider them even close to the level of what I have with Socks.
That's a good piece of advice for friendship. Sometimes your friend, all they need is for you to wag their tail and lick their face and tell them it's going to be okay.
And then when you're done hanging out with Mindy, you can go get your dog.
Yeah, specifically.
I'm terrible. It's just, you go curiously
though.
If
you could lick your balls, I know you would. So just because.
If. Why do you think I took 12 years of gymnastics? No, I got a question for you, Michael. So being out on the road all the time with your best friend Socks, I am curious whether or not you how does that how's your dating life or do you have a wife? That must come into a little bit of a challenging area.
Yeah. In the last, it's been about a year and a half or so. I haven't really had anybody that I've considered fairly serious just because I've been devoting so much time to this. It's very difficult to be like, hey, so my motorcycle only has 2 seats and they're taken.
Exactly.
And, you have to be able to pick up your entire life and follow me around the planet. I don't know where I'm going to be next week. That's a very difficult thing to try to tie in. And so I'm at a place now where I feel very comfortable with where I'm at as far as, not being in a relationship. I'm happy to go and do all these adventures and it be just me and my dog, and I'll meet up with a friend here or there somewhere in the world. And that's nice. But to not actually have a significant other it doesn't feel like a damper on this whole journey.
That's great.
I love that.
Your life is full. Your life is full. How many marriage proposals have you received?
Jokingly,
I'm sure a few.
Yeah.
serious, also a couple hundred.
Wow, good for
Isn't
you.
that something? Who needs Tinder? Just get yourself a dog buddy.
If you listen closely, you can hear the clack of millions of women checking their logging
on
onto the
Instagram
vidcast
now.
here to check out Michael. Not a bad looking
You're like
guy.
a soulful man with a
Exactly.
nice full-grown beard and a good relationship with his dog. This is your guy, but you got to be flexible and be willing to move around a lot.
Yeah. But I do love that story because when you find a passion in life, it is just, and you just authentically go for it 100%, all the other stuff seems to work itself out. It really does. And the light finds you. The light finds people who are living their truest, most authentic lives. And if you found that passion riding on a motorcycle with you in socks, I mean, God bless you. That's a great story.
So I got another thing too. I know that like when you put yourself out there on social media, you kind of open yourself up too. Also you can put as much positive out there, but just by being a public figure, there are trolls that come out. And I've seen how you've handled a few people that have challenged you on, promoting certain political viewpoints or being bribed because of the mask picture with your dog, which I thought was so cute. And it's just like, you have to find a certain place of zen to kind of get into rising above the noise. I mean, I would imagine this journey kind of helps you do that. Would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a special type of comment to get me riled up.
Yeah. You've unfollowed a couple.
I can handle a lot of different types of, just little arguments and things like that, because we do all have different worlds that we live in. What your truth is not my truth. Right. Mm-hmm. So I understand that. And for a lot of people, they may disagree with me, and I can try to give them what my truth is. And if they don't see it, that's fine. But, like the person who said that I was probably bribed by the World Health Organization to post a photo of my dog wearing a mask.
That's
I was
so
just
silly.
Oh, my God.
That's so silly. It's such a cute picture. I put a picture up on Facebook of my dog in a mask. I thought it was adorable.
Wait. I'm sorry. So someone actually gave you a hard time because you showed socks wearing a mask?
Yeah, he put a cute mask on and was making a cute comment about it, and someone it probably had one of the most comment.
There you go.
Streams.
Engagement. Yeah.
Yes. So that had like 1,700 comments on it over the course, 6 hours. And for you to say, oh, somebody was mad, not just somebody.
A lot.
1,000 people unfollowed me for that post.
What?
Really?
That is so stupid. That is so ridiculous.
That is so crazy.
And that's my one of my big things is, we're allowed to disagree about something, but to shut off the world because of a disagreement, it just puts yourself into an echo chamber where the only thing you hear is your thoughts.
Your own.
And that's not.
Yep. 100%. You won't hear the argument here. Our friendship is definition of being able to pull people
And
close
we
to
encourage
make you see other
speaking.
sides of the story. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
my dad always says echo chambers bore me. And I
Right.
guess that's too coming from DC, like the whole nature of debate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Democrats and Republicans live among each other,
Right.
and the whole thing is debating. Why we wouldn't be able to debate with anyone if everyone had the same opinion.
But we should also say that all good science that we know right now says that wearing a mask will help the situation that we're in.
Well,
and so
history
there's a
is an
debate to be
indicator.
had, but there's also at one point where you just have to say, like, look, it's just science. This is no harm.
No
I don't-
partisanship.
you don't have to be right or wrong about
Yeah.
this
That's
moment.
kind of what you said, Michael. You were just like, speaking about science here, let's just talk facts. So
Right.
I just
Right.
found it interesting. I think it's.
But Mindy,
when
I
you are
really want you to make a connection with Michael in the sense that I don't think Michael knows your attachment to the national parks. You got to have
I
an
kinda
in
mentioned
for
it
this guy.
I
He's
mentioned
got to
in
be a
passing, but-
spokesperson for the national parks. Let's fund this
Yeah.
guy so he can go on all these adventures, and we'll meet up with him somewhere.
Well, I was mentioning it earlier. He was saying that on his post, Crater Lake in Oregon was one of the highlights of his trips. And you've been to, how many parks would you say you've been to? There's so
We've
many.
done
How many?
41 of 62.
41. Wow.
That is impressive.
Yeah.
That is impressive. And you've got video documentation of the whole thing.
I do, yeah.
Now, as you know, the great American Outdoors Act just passed, which
Incredible.
is so exciting. I mean,
Incredible.
we, as a member of the National Park Foundation, we spent 3 years on Capitol Hill pushing and begging for support from senators and Congress people and just really encouraging support for this bill because we felt it was probably one of the most important acts in the country to preserve what I believe is our nation's treasure. And you have experienced 40 of them firsthand. And that is an impressive number, really. And I can't think of anyone with a better mantra, persona, and just your whole outlook to represent and bring awareness to our parks. They are something to be preserved and treasured and valued. And don't you feel, you were talking earlier about even like being in Jackson Hole, when you go in the parks, I was just talking to the board last week and I said, we need a slogan that says, with everyone divided, left, right, we need a place to find your center. Because in your parks, you find your center.
I like that.
And it is one of the most profound places, I think. I would imagine it's been very therapeutic for you being in the parks.
Yeah, I mean, as you're saying that, it happened to me. But you know that feeling when you actually see something beautiful or you hear something beautiful and it's that like tickle down your spine.
Yeah.
You get that. And when you go to the national parks, they're parks for a reason. There's beauty all over the country, but these parks have unimaginable beauty, things that literally will make your jaw drop. And Crater Lake is actually the only park that I've gone to twice.
Really?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I went there, 2017 with Sox. And it wasn't until 2 days ago that we went back to Crater Lake. And it was because the first time, I mean, I walked up to it and my jaw just absolutely dropped. And this at a point where it was colder outside than the temperature of the water. And so the water actually had steam coming off of it.
Oh, wow.
I love that.
And there was no wind. So it was a perfect reflection of the clouds above. And I looked down and it was like this mirror that looked like a cauldron. And I had never seen something like that. And it just, the bluest blue you've ever seen. It just took my breath away.
Oh, you inspire me that there's what I do and that you continue to be such a beacon of inspiration for all Americans. What you're doing is just such a great thing for your dog, the relationship, and just I think what we need as a country to bring people together and celebrating something so profound and beautiful. Thank you for sharing that journey.
And it's COVID safe, right?
Yeah.
I mean, hey, what better way to spend time with your family than going and enjoying? Did you say there are 52?
60.
How many?
62, and he's been to 41.
Oh my! I don't think if I was on Jeopardy, I would have got that wrong. I would have to call a friend. I'd have called Mindy. Mindy, how many national parks are there? There's 62 national parks in America.
It changes though. That's when we started this journey. There was only 59, and so I got to the halfway point, and then White Sands National Park, what was then a national monument, became a national park, and suddenly I wasn't halfway anymore.
Oh, no.
Wow. That makes
Raise
sense.
the bar.
I love it. But you know what?
Well, that's what we're
visually,
doing. We're adding more all the
visually
time.
parks
That's
are
good. That's a good thing.
something, but it's not just visual. It's energetic.
Right.
You walk into a forest or you go on a mountaintop and overlook a lake or canyons. It's an energy. There's a vortex at these parks. And when you're completely surrounded by nature, it's not just a visual stimulation. Am I right, Michael? Like,
Well,
do
Michelle,
you feel
I was
like a
just
vibration?
talking to Michael about this earlier because what I understand is there's this consortium of llamas, like the Dalai Lama. There's more than one llama, and they actually gather annually in Jackson Hole because they consider it one of the most vibrant, energetic sources on the planet, with the cauldron of the Yellowstone volcano and the Teton Mountain Range and the Snake River. And there's some synergy that happens between those and creates one of the most spiritually energetic destinations on the planet. So I can't encourage people enough to go take your shoes off, put your feet on the ground, and experience that awe of that national park.
Hey, Michael, we know that you love Crater Lake in Oregon. What's Sock's favorite national park so far?
Actually, very different. His favorite national parks are the ones where dogs are allowed on the trails. And it's a common misconception. A lot of people say like, oh, dogs aren't allowed in national parks. And that's not at all accurate. Dogs are allowed at almost every single national park to varying degrees.
Yeah.
And some of them are extremely dog friendly. Shenandoah National Park about 95% of the trails you can bring your dog on. The Blue Ridge Parkway, part of the national park system, also very dog friendly. Whereas like the Smoky Mountains, Great Smoky Mountain National Park, not very dog friendly. You can only have your dog within the campgrounds. And so I would say his favorite parks are the ones where we can actually go off and experience. Shenandoah National Park, when we had a black bear run across the trail, 50 yards in front of us, that was the first time either of us saw a black bear.
Wow.
I heard that you went to one park and people were looking at the grizzly bear, but more people were looking at you and socks on the bike. Is that right?
That was Jackson Hole. Yeah.
No. The Grand Tetons. Is that the Grand Tetons National Park?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's so funny.
We were in Grand Tetons, and there was it's a pretty famous bear. It's a grizzly bear known as 399, and its mother is 4 years old, and she just had 4 cubs, which is
4,
and they're all
unheard of.
It's a litter.
But absolutely unprecedented. And I mean, there was a wall of photographers on the side of the road taking photos. And of course I pull over because I want to experience this. And I've never seen a grizzly until this moment. Now I'm seeing 5 at once and 4 cubs in the mix. And I look up, and all of these photographers that were zoomed in on the bears went like this.
Oh.
Look over at us.
For podcast listeners, he's holding up his hands in the shape of a shotgun.
No.
Was that a shotgun? What was that? Was that a shotgun?
It's a lens. No.
Oh, a lens, a photo lens.
You're being silly.
Just
kidding.
He's just.
I knew there was a
jokester.
shoot involved.
He's being a jokester.
Lordy.
Oh Lord.
That's
God bless America.
That's something to say. You can see a bear on any old Discovery Channel documentary. When are you going to see socks on a motorcycle?
Socks on a motorbike. Oh.
Like it.
Right.
Somebody actually posted a story of that, just taking a photo, and they said by far the most exciting thing was seeing socks on the bike.
Oh, that's great.
Somebody else said, well, of course, you could see a bear anytime you're in the Tetons, but you can only see socks this once.
That is, you are becoming a national treasure in and of yourself. I just am so excited. Don't forget _bike_dog, the bike dog. And you cannot miss Socks and Michael on this journey. It is just something to behold. It's one of the best.
It's a beautiful friendship.
Media.
It's a beautiful friendship. And like we said, the soul connection. I mean, one of my only other dog was John Henry. Everyone who knew me knew John Henry. And I had him for 14 years. And to this day, I always say he's the longest relationship I've ever had. He
and the
is
most loyal one.
Most loyal, longest relationship I've ever had. And honestly, there will never be another John Henry. I mean, you'll love every single dog you have. And if you've had multiple dogs, you'll know that there's some that have a different soul connection to you and that you literally feel like you were destined. He licked more tears than you can imagine. He's experienced more good times than you can imagine. I mean, he was my guy. He was my guy for 14 years. And everyone who knew me knew John Henry. And he was a pit bull. And a lot of people have, which I'm sure as Huskies, they have this instant fear, and prejudice of this type of dog. Oh, they're aggressive, or they're wild, or I mean he's close to his wolf, descendants. But if you met ancestors, he's a descendant of you're right. But
sorry,
if you met John Henry, he dissolved all those prejudices immediately, as I'm sure Socks does. Like you were saying in some of your posts that, people don't know Socks. They don't know his discipline. They don't know his heart, his temperament, like I do, and the trust that you have. What have you ever had an experience where someone might cross the street when you're walking Socks, or like, oh, is your dog's dangerous around children? Do you get offended?
Yeah, all the time. I don't get offended by it because it's a rational thought for a lot of people. All you have to have experience, or not even your parents could have had a bad experience. So you never grew up with dogs, and their fear just kind of transcended onto you. So, I come across that a lot, but in most situations when I'm out just walking through towns and just, doing grocery shopping or something, I'll be walking with Socks without a leash. And when I go into a store, I'll have him out the front door. I don't tie him up. He just sits there and waits for me. And there will be people that, as I'm walking past, will kind of shuffle across the road, or they'll be walking with their dog and be worried that my dog isn't nice. And I'm like, I promise you, my dog is fine. And even if yours isn't, my dog's not going to leave my side. He's not interested in what you have going on. He's interested in what we are doing together.
And he is loyal.
No.
And
I love that. And you know what? I noticed as a dog owner, as we all are, I noticed you had a plug for a particular food product. And I'm just very curious. You spoke so highly of these bones. It was the Primal pet food. Is that what it was that you were that he loves to eat on the road? Do you carry these with you? Or, you got to carry food with you everywhere you go. Do you have a go-to food that Socks loves?
I do. So Socks was actually on a raw food diet for the longest time. And when we started the road trip, it became very difficult because raw doesn't last very well.
No.
So I had to try to figure something out. And I reached out to this company after I did a lot of research, because when I read the back of their bag of dog food, there was not a single thing that wasn't organic or free range. I recognized every single thing on that ingredient list. And so I was like, well, this is the best I've ever seen. And they have a freeze-dried version as well. So it's freeze-dried raw. And that allows me to carry, I can carry 10 days worth of food with me. And all I have to do is add water. And it's back to regular raw food for him.
Oh, wow. That's perfect.
That's cool.
Primal pet food, right?
Primal pet foods. And they have 6,000 stores throughout the U.S. And being that I do travel, that really comes in handy, because I haven't come across anywhere in the U.S. yet that I've been unable to get some food for him.
It's nice to get a good recommendation like that too, because like we said, we're all dog owners, and any of us knows, especially my little Lucy, she has a sensitive skin issue.
Allergies.
So I'm always looking for just the right balance of easily digestible proteins, simple ingredient foods. You know what I did want to say though? You had a dog named John Henry.
John Henry.
And Mindy's got a dog that looks just like John C. Reilly.
Oh, that's right.
My dog's name is Bear. I have 180-pound Newfoundland that will not fit on the back of a bike, barely fits in the back of a car. But he's been mistaken as a bear in Jackson Hole. It's been pretty funny.
He's the best.
Hence his name, Bear.
Hence his name, Bear. Yes. But dogs are everything. Where are you going to next, Michael? Where's the next park? What's your next destination?
So we're in the Pacific Northwest right now, and we've actually visited every national park in the Pacific Northwest. So the closest ones are all the way down in California. I would have to make my way down to Yosemite, Sequoia National Park, and Kings.
Hey, so you haven't been there yet? You haven't been to those yet?
Well, I've actually done Yosemite before, but
I believe it's Yosemite, as our president just informed us. Sorry. Don't go and get political. Sorry, go ahead.
Hold on, stop. So you're going to go visit him again?
I'm going to have to do Yosemite again because I didn't bring Socks. And the whole thing was
there you go.
That's perfect.
So those are the likely next ones. It seems like I'm going to have a journey off to the East Coast here in the next couple of weeks for just another kind of cool little project that we're working on. So I'm coast for a bit. Who knows?
I would love to talk to our marketing team at the Park Foundation, because we're just launching all sorts of new social media campaigns. One is just called Wonder Calls, and it is just the most beautiful video about, how Wonder does call you. Will you answer the phone? And I just think of what a great ambassador you would be for, promoting the parks and supporting your parks and going across. My brain's thinking.
Hey, when you go across country like that, do you literally ride your bike across the country, or do you ship it?
Oh yeah, no, we've ridden across the country several times now.
Oh, that's a journey in of itself.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Just since November, we did a trip from New Jersey to Maine. We did a trip and that was to visit Acadia National Park. And then we did Maine all the way down to Key West. And, there's several national parks on the way, whether it's Congaree, which is in South Carolina, beautiful park. Very few people even know about it, to Everglades and Biscayne, even Dry Tortugas. So visited all of those parks and then shot west, and we went all the way into Arizona and then up into San Francisco area. So we visited Pinnacles National Park in California, and we visited White Sands, which just recently became a national park. That was in January of this year.
Wow. Have you been up to Alaska?
No, that's going to be next summer. When they
open up Canada, Canada's closed, right? You can't really get up there now.
And they tell me that I'm not essential. I don't know.
What?
You are absolutely essential. Don't they
And you know what?
you
Socks
are?
is too. Where's
Exactly.
Socks? We want to say
on.
goodbye with Socks
I wanna see
with
more
us.
Socks.
Well, we love you, Michael.
I'm a little bit of a Socks fiend.
Come here. Come on.
Socks is just
Come on.
such a lucky dog.
Aw.
I love Socks.
Okay,
Really
we need to do a
beautiful
group
dog.
shot.
I
We need to do a
know.
picture with Michael and Socks in the screen. Okay, smile so we can screenshot. Oh,
Socks,
what a
you know
precious
what?
baby.
I just, this is really epic proportion of love and soul connection of friendship. We wanted to have Socks with us when we say goodbye because you now and Socks are officially a part of the Friendsome.
Welcome to the Friend Zone.
And we want to meet you when you get to Yosemite. So you better hit us up and we'll find you. We want to connect.
It looks like Socks wants to say something. What is that, Socks? Thanks for letting me be part of the Friends.
It was-
He does
Aw,
make
Paul.
make a howl. He does talk to you. I've seen the video where you're. Can he talk?
Can you make him howl?
Come on, talk. Talk to me. Come on.
Oh, that's
love
awesome! I wouldn't have
Do it
believed
Do it again.
that.
Wait. Shh.
Come on. Talk. Oh.
That's priceless.
That
is
was, he said,
priceless.
goodbye, friendsome, and then some. I love you too.
Thanks for letting me be part of the
Hi,
Friends.
Michael.
Michael, you're the
Such a
best. What a
pleasure.
wonderful
Oh,
person, human
Truly.
person you are. I can't. You're a creature of the world, and I'm so fascinated by your relationship with Socks, and it really is, like Mindy said, like it should be a universal message of love for everyone.
True friendship.
Yes.
True, undeniable friendship. That's between
So
a man.
thank you for joining us. I just might be in touch. So if
Yay.
you see me calling,
Yeah, you better answer when Mindy calls.
Exactly.
Oh, God. I am so bad about answering phone calls.
that's all right.
We'll hit the
I'll do
DMs.
ya.
We'll
We'll
do the
get ya.
DMs. We'll do it new
Yeah,
school.
or emails. I answer all sorts of things, but man, phone calls, that's really personal.
Then I'll
That's-
email. I'll email.
Well,
I'll hook y'all up.
why don't we sign off with a round of Instagram so that everyone can follow Socks and Michael and all of us?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So you can follow us on YouTube. Watch us live on Tuesdays at 2:00 on our Facebook page. Listen to us on Apple Podcast and iHeartRadio and Spotify.
And all
Follow
the
us
rest
on
of them.
Instagram
And follow
Friendsome
Michael
and then some.
too.
Friendsome and then some on Instagram. I'm JD Cargill on Instagram. Michelle M.A. Orego on
Yep.
Instagram. Mindy Stearns. And Michael.
The
wait, no.
bike dog.
The underscore.
The underscore bike,
bike
underscore,
underscore
dog.
dog.
The bike dog. Socks
There
and
you go.
Michael. Thank you so
Thank you,
We love you,
Michael.
Michael.
Thanks,
joining us.
Socks.
Really.
Ooh. Hey.
Oh my gosh. We could talk to him forever.
I know. I love it.
I
You
just-
find the best guests.
Thank you.
Seriously. That is just
Thank
so
you.
nice. I think sometimes people just think that we just
stuff.
call our friends all the time, but sometimes you really like put in the effort to find a great story, someone who's really doing something interesting or making a difference in the name of friendship. And so, good job.
Well,
good job,
and I
Michelle.
knew you guys would eat it up because yes, you are pet lovers, and to Mindy with the national parks and just what's happening is so exciting for
Right.
our parks. And he couldn't have been more of a perfect connection for us talking about friendship.
Exactly.
And a man's best friend. I would argue it's anyone's best friend.
Bear,
It's human.
Lucy, Blue
A
Jean,
human
we're coming
best
home.
friend.
Yes.
Yes.
And Fatty Cakes loves
Oh.
him too. Loves dogs too.
I
All right.
love
well, see you guys.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you,
Thanks for joining the
Friendsome.
Friendsome.